Hello, welcome to the Reason Effective podcast brought to you by myself, Uncommon Fossil, and 10 Types.
Yep, that's right, everyone. And I'm actually live. Uncommon Fossil, you're not live, right?
I am not live. I'm living, but I'm not live, I guess is what we can say.
Yep. Interesting philosophical question there. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I was just streaming my Mutant format standard tournament, which was interesting.
Yep.
Um, and so that was cool. Pretty much for Mutant Standard, for those of you who don't know, Mutant is an evolution rule. It is commonly used, or not, I don't know if I'd say commonly, but semi-commonly used in cube drafts. That is for another day. If you don't know what that is, it doesn't
Right.
really matter. But pretty much it is the rule that any Pokemon can evolve into a Pokemon of the same type following normal evolution rules. So, um,
Just the one thing, we're not going to get into what cubing is, but it does have a limited card pool, which is very different than Mutant in when all of standards available to you could potentially can make overpowering decks.
Yes, that is very true. And so I ran that on Limitless. Limitless was a little weird. Uncommon Fossil, you said that you were like considering playing, but you
Yeah.
wanted to drop if they're like was it like an even? You wanted to get there an even number of players.
Right.
Um, and so then you dropped, or you like wanted to drop, but then I didn't want people sitting around.
Yeah.
Long story short, it didn't work. So I had to create a new tournament. So that was a little annoying. Sorry about that. But the next time, if I run another tournament, I'll probably run it just through Discord because we run on the PTCG simulator, which allows you to do different rules. I'm recording on Pokemon DCG Live, but on the simulator you can do whatever rules you want. And then it's like
Right.
connected through Discord. So
Right.
yeah.
I mean, you did what a couple of weeks ago a theme deck tournament, which was on the simulator as well. Now, eventually, you should be able to do that in live because you could do that on PTCGO and GLC once they get that everything working in live. You could do that as well for tournaments, but something like a mutant format that doesn't follow standard rules, you could only do that on the simulator ever.
Yeah. Um, I don't think themes. I don't think Live's going to add all the cards, but that's for another day. Um, and then what else? I was going to say.
So at
Oh,
this point, you stream for like 3+ hours, and so you're
yeah.
pretty exhausted. And if your voice gives out, that it is what it is. So let me ask you, how did the simulator work? When we did the tournament a couple of weeks ago, there was desyncing issues.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. There's one other thing I want to say
Oh,
first. With limitless tournaments, why do people sign up for limitless tournaments without reading what the tournament is? It's for this. I couldn't make it more obvious this time, but last time people signed up with standard lists in a theme deck tournament, and it didn't
yeah.
say standard. It said themed, and it said it was on the simulator. Why? I don't know. Anyway, so I wasn't sure. I guess I should probably just like kick people out like before the tournament, which is like I was like, oh, last time I did that, and it seems kind of like bad to do. I think that I don't know. I probably won't use Limitless again. Um,
Yeah,
it's not bad. It's good, but it does certain things very well.
it does. But there are obviously other alternative format events run in Limitless, and it seems like when I've looked at those, that there often are non-conforming decks that people have tried to play in the tournaments.
Yes. Um, so then that just like is not ideal.
No.
But so the simulator itself, it went for the most part fine. Someone like crashed out. Um,
Now, was that the game where they closed the tab and then that kind
yeah, I
of,
think they closed their tab.
so it was a user
I don't know if
error,
they crashed.
but then it messed up. You couldn't get it going again, I guess.
Yeah, and so I want to ask XXL Xiao Long, the creator of the simulator. They actually played. They won the event. Although there is not like any prizes or anything.
Yep.
But they won the event. But I want to ask them because they made the simulator if they can add a feature to reconnect. That would be super useful. I
Yep.
don't know exactly how they could do that and if they could do it perfectly, because you don't want to like someone stealing your game from you. But
Right.
yeah, right now it just like deletes the game if you leave and join again. But there's a spectating feature which is super sick.
Mhm.
Something that I'm really happy about because it allows you to actually watch the game and then in my case stream the games.
And how did that work for you? Did that work? What was that fine?
Yeah, that was there's one like minor issue, but I think that might be being fixed. It was a little hard to like click on certain cards, but it wasn't that. But I think like so when you click on a card, it creates a box of all the cards attached to it.
Yes. Yep.
And then if you click off that box, it closes the box, right?
Yes. Yep. Familiar with that.
Um,
Yes.
except it just kept like closing the box whenever I clicked it because I think the other people were clicking on other spots, like playing
Okay.
the game. So I think that was like some minor issue, but um,
Okay.
aside from that, it was perfectly fine. The time I accidentally entered as a player instead of a spectator, so I just left. Because otherwise the two people couldn't play each other.
Now,
Um,
when you entered
yeah.
as a player, was it as the second player, or were you like a third player joining in?
No, as the second player. So right now
Okay.
you cannot have more than two people, which I wish you could have more. I don't know. Like, so that I definitely would not be running a limitless multi more than two-person tournament. But
Yeah.
I don't know. That's like not really a thing at all. Um
No, I mean that gets complicated to do that. So I certainly don't expect them to implement that. Probably, especially not unless they get everything else worked out to start to add stuff like that. Just adds
yeah,
complication unnecessarily.
yeah, and it's like it would overcomplicate other features and potentially make those features worse. Yeah, but overall I think it was pretty cool. The format. I'll talk about the decks real quick, I
Yep.
guess. 3 out of the 4 people ran Psychic. 2 of the lists were Gardevoir EX lists.
hmm Now, all right. So basic pieces psychic. You have curl. They all played Curlias, right? Which is a great engine piece. You
Yeah,
have
well, the one list was a Lost Zone list, so that
okay.
didn't play as many evolutions.
Okay. Yep. But do they still play Curlias in the deck or no?
Yeah, they ran one Kirlia, one Zadu, and they're the only person to run Zadu.
Okay. Which obviously can go in the psychic as well. Um, and then with the Gardevoir, both the EX and the single prize Gardevoir.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Good.
The one Gardevoir list was pretty standard. The one that XXL's list ran a really interesting card, Dragapult, which says for you can discard any number of
Yeah.
GPs you have on your bench.
Okay.
And then for each one discard, you do 120 points Pokemon, but
Hmm.
you can't choose the same Pokemon. So you can do 100 to like 3 different bench Pokemon or 4 different bench Pokemon in this case,
Okay.
um, which is cool. And it won because it wasn't like super consistent, but it's pretty consistent because normally like you only have obviously like 4 basics to evolve into a stage 2 because it's a stage
hmm
2.
Yep.
But now you have more than that, and so it's more consistent. And the games are kind of slower as well. I think the format is less optimized.
The form. Oh well, yeah. I mean, that's the nice. It's fun because it's coming from scratch, which takes some time, but you have a lot of freedom. But yeah, decks are not optimized. Now, no one. I don't think any of those psychic decks played Mimikyu, did they? Which I think I was surprised.
The one did.
Okay, just one.
Well, I don't know if one or multiple did. One certainly did.
Okay,
People around Klefki though. Klefki, that was bad for the Lost Zone deck. Yeah, that
that kind of ruined that its
yeah,
day.
yeah. So Klefki's interesting. Obviously, comfy in the Lost Zone build. In
Right.
let's see, there was Spiritomb. Someone ran like a weird Mr. Okay, so I'm gonna call out XXL or something. I think it's funny, but so they ran a Mr. Mime, which does rock paper scissors. Um,
Right. And rock
uh,
paper scissors was also part of a supporter card as
yeah,
well.
no, there have been a few cards with rock paper scissors.
Yeah.
But they didn't know how to do it, so they just flipped a coin.
Well, it makes sense,
There's
right?
no, no, yeah, it does.
They haven't implemented it in the game, which isn't a shock,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah, but I feel like they shouldn't have played the card with rock paper scissors. Um, like because I feel like they went out of their way and they knew it wasn't in the game.
the
Like they
person
could
that
have
right
added it to the game. Yeah,
the person right that developed the game played a card that they knew wouldn't work in their game,
yeah.
which is
Um,
amusing. Yeah.
which isn't and it wasn't necessarily like a good. I don't know. I don't like they used it, but I don't know. It was fun anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
So
Baby Mew is good as well.
the the
Celebrations one, yeah.
celebrations view. Okay. All right. Yeah. No. Yeah. That's a good basic, obviously, to have to evolve into a Curlia. Quite very nice there. Um, so a lost zone, two traditional Gardevoir decks, and then there's a fourth deck.
Yep. And so this one was interesting. It involved a kind of interesting ruling that I keep forgetting about. Like there's a right ruling because
Yeah.
so you said that you had a question about the ruling. It
Yeah.
wasn't this.
It is. It's with the Amistar V. So, right, Amistar V, which allows with its attack, and they played Aerodactyl, which of course is very good. It was a colorless and water deck. The Amistar V, what does it say again? It says The exact wording is Primal Guidance. One entered colorless. Search your deck for the 2 Pokemon that evolve from an item card that has Fossil in its name and put them onto your bench. Then shuffle your deck. So it's designed for whatever the stage 1 for Aerodactyl is, right? That's what it's kind of designed
No,
for
well, so
normally.
it's no, well, there's different things.
There's
So
other
it came out in
fossils.
Sword and Shield. So yes,
Yeah.
Armastar, but there's a bunch.
Yes.
There was like the rare fossil ones as well.
Right. But
Um,
a stage 1 that evolves from a fossil. Aerodactyl evolves from a fossil eventually, but you couldn't put that directly on the bench with this attack, correct?
yeah. So what they did, well, you can say it, right? I'm assuming you
So the
saw the list.
question is, right, so they would put Barrel. So they used to put Barrel on the bench, which Barrel is very, very good.
Yeah.
The thing is, obviously, the fossil the fossil is the barrel can evolve from any colorless Pokemon by the rules of mutant format. However, the fossil is not a Pokemon, so it's not a colorless Pokemon until it's in play. The card, a random card, a fossil card, is not a colorless Pokemon until it's in play.
Yeah,
That's right. So
maybe, yeah.
technically, I don't think they should have been able to do that.
Um,
I
yeah,
mean,
I don't know. I was saying, so okay, so Kevin Kryptonite's here in chat. That's the person who
okay.
played it as
And,
well.
and obviously, it's a ruling issue, so it's a nice thing to be able to do. Was that the correct ruling?
So the reason I said was I don't know. So I actually didn't they didn't ask me about this. I didn't realize until the timer started.
Okay, they didn't
But
ask. Okay, I
no, they
figured
did.
they
They
had
did
asked
ask me.
the,
No, they asked.
in Discord
What they
prior.
asked was, what do fossil Pokemon evolve into?
Okay,
And because fossils are colorless, they evolve into colorless Pokemon, right? So
right. Once a fossil's
I
in
wasn't thinking
play,
about
it's a
Almastar V. I don't know if they asked about Almastar V.
okay.
But I don't know. It's an interesting question.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure what the correct answer is. Obviously, it's
So what you're saying is potentially it shouldn't get anything.
well, like identified fossil, right? It's an item card,
Unidentified fossil.
unidentified fossil. Yeah, sorry, item card. Play this as if it were a 60 HP basic colorless Pokemon, but it's not. But it's an item until it's played, right? So that's the question. Well, I think
Yeah.
you should be able to play the Amistar should be able to put in the stage 1 that the fossil could normally evolve into. I don't think there's any reason it wouldn't do that because that's
Well,
what
but
the attack does, right?
no, well, but the fossil, but now in this case, the fossil, no, but the fossil can't even evolve into that because it's not the same type. Well, I know it can evolve into certain ones, but not in this case. It can't evolve into, say, Almastar itself, or Almanite, or Kabuto, or
Oh,
whatever.
because those aren't colorless Pokemon, what they evolve into.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
in chat, Kevin Kryptonite here says, who ran the deck, said that the barrel can't evolve into Bidoof if it's not in play. So,
Well,
so I don't know. I think like this gets a little
it's
complicated. I think it's fine.
it's an
This is a
interesting
ruling.
question. I'm not sure what's right. It was a very good idea. I think though, and I had said in the comments, I would have played a Squovit or a couple Squovits just because Squovit is so nice paired with Bibarel. And his response was, he wanted to guarantee Omastar turn 1, and obviously you have to go second to use your attack, but most decks want to go first, so you're going to go second like 90% of the time probably. I think long term, and I get that long term, a Squovit in play does help the Bibarel engine though,
Yeah,
as a
and
separate point.
yeah, and there are different things. Anyway, I don't think we need to get too into the weeds
No.
about that right now,
Okay.
because we have something bigger to talk about, better, even more exciting.
Yes.
No, it's not. It's bad. It's really sad. It's
Well,
it's Paldean Fates. So
if you're a
Nighthawk,
collector, it's exciting, right? There's lots of shiny Pokemon and lots of alternate
yeah,
arts.
that's true. And now I realize I'm happy that they make sets that are good for collectors, bad for players, and vice versa. Um,
Yeah, but yeah, as a player, as long as you don't need to get the new judge art, you don't need to spend much on these new cards, and it's very budget friendly, right?
yeah. Um, yeah. So because it doesn't change any decks. That's not true, but that's kind of true.
Yeah, look, there's 40. I think there's 40 some new cards. I could never. It was very hard to.
Including pre-evolutions, right?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, including basics that evolve and such. Yes. Um, so anyway, so that's what we're here to talk about. Paldean Fates, the new cards, and what we think are the best cards. And we didn't actually set out ground rules for it. And I have a list of 43 cards, so I think that might be the full set of new cards. I'm not certain if I missed any or
That
not.
that could be. Um,
So
yeah, as
we
you said, it was hard to find the list of cards because there's a lot of reprints. Like it's mostly reprints.
Right, and I found one site that's usually reliable that said here's all the new cards, but they were missing uh, the TM Crisis Punch and Moonlit Hill. That then I realized no,
Just wondering what site was that?
I think it was
Y-
Justin Basil. It was either Justin Basil or Beach, which are two
Wait, Justin
very,
Basil has that? Or there's wait, I didn't know they had
or
just the new
maybe
card.
maybe it was on Beach then.
Hmm.
When they're both very good sites to use, so I
Yeah, no,
certainly
those are
don't
both
mean to
good sites.
knock it.
Um,
And they said here there's like 40 cards. I think they had a list of 41 cards when they said it was 40, and they were missing at least those two. Um, anyway, it was hard. And even like on Justin Basil, you can kind of look at his site where he prints the text. And for the older cards, they would be the old English text, but the newer cards were generally Japanese. But sometimes had the new art; it was still in Japanese. Like a new art for like Zatu was in Japanese.
oh, one thing, Poke Beach, the two work together. Justin Basil works. I don't know if it works for Poke
He
Beach.
publishes article
Um,
on
yeah, and
articles
the
on Poke Beach.
podcast is with Water Pokemon Master,
Hmm.
who I believe is the owner of Poke Beach, as well as Justin Basil.
Oh, okay. He's been on the podcast. Okay.
Yeah, it's those two.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, very good news sources. I recommend utilizing them. I think we both check them out regularly. So anyway, it just was hard to if we missed something, let us know in the comments for on the YouTube video where this gets uploaded.
Yeah, I don't think we missed anything that good though. Probably.
No. So what we did, what we decided to do was put together a top 10 list for each of us, which we did, and we're going to compare those lists, I believe. And by the time you get, there are a few good cards, I think for sure, but it's hard. I don't. There's probably not 10 good cards, I would say.
Yeah. And so you said you have some lists, some cards that weren't on your list that were like honorable mentions.
Yes, and I don't. Well, and maybe they're on your list. So if it is, we won't continue to discuss it. Well, first one, you made a video on this. I think the first day, and that's Nemona's backpack. Put up to 2 Nemona's cards from your discard pile into your hand. And I had to look up Nemona because I just don't remember
Well,
what
it's,
garbage
it's, it's
cards
the
are.
go. It's the go.
It's draw 3, right? Which isn't
That's
horrible.
exactly what I said.
And I don't think I need an item to get 2 draw 3 supporters back into my hand. But you made a deck of it. I assume you didn't put in the top 10. It was an amusing card.
No, it was close. So the reason is it grows your hand, right? Nimona grows your
Right.
hand, and then this is a +1 card to your hand, which is potentially useful. Also, I think a lot of people, I think Avery is really bad, and I think Nimona is about as good as Avery. So I think if people play a lot of Avery, like someone had a list that was like, so there's a Tinkaton list, and I had like a bunch of Avery, so just slotted all like the Averys and replaced them with Nimona, and it's like fine.
So
Um,
yeah, yeah. Look,
it just barely loses every game it plays. That's like the experience with that deck,
well,
which is a bit
Tinkaton was
unfortunate.
a
It was close.
yeah. It was a weird deck. Look, maybe it'll be a good card someday. I don't know. It doesn't seem very good now. And the,
Nimona's backpack is going to be like the new card.
well, I had figured when I saw this card being in the set, Nemona's backpack, I assumed there was like a new attacker that did damage, like 50 damage per Nemona you have in hand. Even
Yeah,
then,
that would make sense.
Nemona's back, it wouldn't be good probably, but I figured there was something kind of like that just to give it some reason. But it doesn't. It's not that way. All right, these other cards, I have 4 cards that I think may go in standard decks right now, or at least consider. So there's Charmeleon. I don't have that in my top 10. Do you?
Yeah, so I think there are 2 cards. They're number 10, but I have 2 cards tied for 10, which are
Okay.
Charmeleon and Frigibax. They're new versions of. They're arguably the new best Charmeleon and Frigibax. There's not too
Hmm.
much to say about them, and I don't really care about them, but they are. I figured they're probably good.
Oh,
They're gonna see play.
I think right.
So.
I mean, Charizard is the most played deck on Limitless.
No, not anymore. Not anymore.
No, online it's not.
Well, because
Oh, you
Charizard
said
like doesn't
they
work
messed up
anymore.
that somehow the
Yeah. So.
categorization got goofed up. But so Flare Veil, it's immune to what effects of attacks. So that's good to have that for decks that play that. There's the Kilowattrel. I assume. Do you have that on your list?
No, I was considering it. It's pretty bad.
Look, it's a United Wings tech. I won't get into it, but look, if you like, and I'm going to try that one out, Kilowatt Roll, but I don't think it's all that good. The Vroom may actually go in deck with Revavroom.
Oh, I didn't.
The,
Okay,
the
I
Rev
didn't realize
attack,
you
you
had a
put
new room.
two basic energies from the discard pile into your hand, which does have some value.
Yeah,
And
that's fine.
there's a Gimme Ghoul that
Yeah.
it chest. I assume this isn't in your top 10 either, right? Uh,
No, I honestly kind of didn't realize that. I kind of knew. I knew about the gimme goal. I didn't really know about the Veru.
Yeah, chest
So
out flage, I guess. Oh, out ouflage. I don't know. Whatever it is. Flip a
it's like
coin.
no chestoflage. It's like
Oh,
camouflage
okay.
versus chest.
Okay. That makes more
It's a
sense than
yeah. It still doesn't make that much sense. Not enough sense to make a
no
dollar.
chestaflage. Okay. If you flip a coin, if heads prevents damage and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. So it may go in that deck. I'm not certain. It's a
Probably
consideration.
not. There's the only call for family, which is probably better.
Or the other one's 70 HP, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Those two.
but you could, right? You could drop one copy in if things are going bad. Kind of like the old Relentless Flame theme deck. You just flip heads a lot till you set up.
Yep,
Um,
that's true.
and then the last one, which I think is absurd, which is why it's here, and this is Mime Junior, a baby Pokemon, 30 HP, free retreat, and it has the attack for no energy, as these babies do. Mimed games, very clever title there, and your opponent chooses an attack from one of their Pokemon in play. They use the chosen attack as this attack, so your opponent gets to choose. Pretty pretty silly there, right?
Yeah, generally whenever your opponent gets to choose something, it's usually really bad for you. So the one I was actually talking to some people about this in GLC, and it
Yeah.
could actually be a little better in GLC, but it's still not very good. But in standard, it's really bad. So I realized I was thinking about something, and then so one, there are a lot of different possibilities. One, they could choose some really good attack, but they probably won't because that's bad. Like, why do they do that?
Right.
But there's certain scenarios, like if they only have one Pokemon, like Miraidon, that's the only Pokemon in play.
Right. It
And
only
that,
has one attack, too.
yep, and they do that, and then you KO them, and you win. That's really good.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, wait, no, yeah, that wouldn't even make sense because they just use their ability. But like for whatever reason, if that happened, but like you're gonna win anyway. So, um, the other scenario, the more common scenario is they choose an attack that's really bad. Like they have Miraidon, and then they have Iron Hands, which it's 120 attack isn't that good, but I mean it's good, but not taking the KO, it's not very good. Um, but then they have like Mareep, and they're gonna get Mareep into play or Squawkabilly, and those are not like
Yeah.
Squawkabilly is not good. Mareep is garbage. I think it does 10. Um, and
Right.
then oh, and someone said use it with Avery. Nah, Avery's bad. No. I don't know. Yeah, that's an interesting concept. I still think it wouldn't be good because they're gonna generally keep like support Pokemon. Like they need some support Pokemon. In fact, they're probably more likely to discard their attacker. But no, like
Well,
they'll have Curlia or Comfy or like something that has like no that doesn't really do much.
yeah. Now look, there are ways in expanded to get to like eliminate cards from play for your opponent, right?
Well, there are, but
In
like
standard, you could attack with Regigigas, right? Get rid of a Pokemon, and and then
wait, what? Oh, V
Regigigas
Star.
V
You know, use
Star
the
to
ability. Yeah.
use its
No, I mean
ability
that's like the Avery thing as well. Oh, but you don't choose. Yeah.
with which Avery, right? So you
With
Avery,
Avery.
and then you Regigigas, and then you attack with Mime Junior. Of
Yeah, that
course, if you've done
sounds
all that, you probably have some better attacking options than Mime Junior. But
yeah. Um, and then I was thinking the worst possible scenario is if you're against. I couldn't think of a great example deck to do this, but I thought of a few. So if you're against like so Arceus sometimes plays Superior V-Star, right?
yeah.
Or sometimes let me find another example as well. There's another one that I forgot. Some other V-Star. Um, or like a Alolan Vulpix V-Star, right? That's sometimes played.
Hmm.
Another V-Star that's sometimes played is Mewtwo V-Star. It doesn't see very much play, but it sees a tiny bit. There are a few, but of those, like Superior V-Star, its V-Star power does 60 damage for each energy attached to this Pokemon, and then you switch it with one of your bench Pokemon. So, well, that's probably not doing any damage, right? Um,
Yeah.
on And then it uses up your V-Star power. So you can use up
That's
your V-Star power.
now.
The one.
Now I had a question. What if you attack? What if they choose Mu VMAX because they just have Mu VMAX and Genesect in play?
Well,
Then
then
then and so they attack. They choose Mu VMAX attack. Who gets to choose which attack it uses?
it'd be on your bench. So probably it doesn't. Well, no. So this is also, I had a question on like Giratina V-Star as Star
Yeah.
Requiem. Um, but like, what if you don't have 10 cards in the Lost Zone? So can they choose that? So that leaves the question,
Right.
what like happens if there's an attack that like,
You
because I don't
can't
think
pay.
UV Max can normally. Can you use Cross Fusion Strike if you don't have any Fusion Strike Pokemon on your bench normally? I
Yeah, I
don't
don't
know.
know because right. I was thinking with cast form, which is the goat as always, right? Like if they don't have right, they probably can't pay for a cast form attack, so you give them that.
No, they still use it because it does it skips energy requirement, but it's like an attack with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
it's
that
not
that
like the
that get
requirement.
okay. That's not part of the attack. It's to use the attack. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
All right.
But like it's really bad. Like most of the time, it's gonna be literally like unusable. I don't know if I could ever play. I might play this. We'll see.
It's
It
I
seems funny.
it's very funny, and I don't know what they were thinking when they printed this one up, right?
No, I think
Designed
I
this
think it's
one.
cool. I like it because normally like it's a mime, so it's like copying stuff, but it's like the baby, so it's not as good, right? I like it thematically. Pretty
Y-
simple, but it's kind
Yeah.
of
If there's ever certain,
goofy.
I guess if certain decks become very popular that just have just a bench full of big attackers, you use it, right? It's
Yeah.
stick one in your deck and see what happens. I don't know.
Or they just have one attacker, right? Like if they
Right.
like Draco's Ulvi, not Draco's Ulvi, that would be bad because you'd die. But um, maybe there's some, and that's I don't know, something like Victini V Max. It's okay. It's not that good, but it's okay for that
Right.
matchup.
Yeah. So anyway, we've talked more about it than it deserves, but it's just a very funny Pokemon there. So,
Yeah.
um, so we have our top tens. How do you want to work through this?
I think we should go like from the end in. So I said my number 10, which was two, which is
Okay.
Charmeleon and Frigibax. What's your number 10?
My number 10 is Scrafty. It,
Scrafty. What is that?
it's a dark type stage one. It could go in Zoroark box possibly, right? Because right now
Uh,
it it's got well, it's got two attacks actually. Well, the headbang does 130 for three, which you pay for with reversal energy.
but that's not good.
No, but right now the only dark attacker they play is Mighty Ina, right? Which isn't good for dark weak Pokemon, right? It's only
Well, it
good
does. It
against
does one shot them.
Mu
It
VMAX.
does
Oh,
do more
if they
damage.
have a VMAX in play,
No, but you
otherwise
can still attach a reversal.
that's true.
So
Um,
I'd say it's worse.
and then
And then
it does
also
have
you're hitting 260 with weakness, which is like
it's not
but
great
without weakness you can hit like 220 or something. So
for one colorless though. Lambast does 30 in defending Pokemon. If it's defending a basic Pokemon, it can't attack their next turn. So maybe look, it's number 10. I don't think I like it too much.
yeah, yeah,
I still
yeah.
think it's
I think this card's bad. I think this card's bad.
okay.
No, that's fine. I think the Mime Genius is better than this card.
Maybe it's more interesting.
I think
Um,
it has more potential.
maybe, maybe.
Anyway,
Oh, the
so
other card I didn't have. Do you have Clive down?
I
Do you
did
have?
not. I was considering Clive.
And
So that
actually,
says
yeah. Go ahead.
your opponent reveals their hand. You draw two cards for each supporter you find there. The issue is like decks don't just have like lots of supporters in their hand usually, and they don't play a
Right.
lot. You need to pretty much always hit two supporters at least, or no, if you always hit two, that's good. It's not even broken, but it's good if it's draw four, but it's not. It's probably going to be draw, and if they're not planning for it, it'll be draw two.
Hmm.
But if they are planning for it, it will be draw zero.
Yeah, look, what it does is it reveals their hand, right? So maybe for a control deck, maybe you have some attacks that depend on what's your opponent's hand. So now, but rather than having to wait till the attack to find out what you can do, you know, it's more of
There are other supporters that reveal hand. I think this one's. I don't know. I was considering it as well.
maybe in a control deck is what I'd say.
Yeah.
So okay, so number 9, I'll go first here, and this is Executor,
Oh,
another
yeah. That's Zoroark attacker.
another Zoroark attacker. So and 130 HP. Psychic type. It's this or Gardevoir, right? Because it plays the single prize Gardevoir that does 160. This also for
No,
Psychic.
Glade.
Gallade, sorry. Yep. Thank you for correcting me there. Psychic Loop does 160, the same damage as the Gallade for 3 energy. And you put 2 energy attached to this Pokemon into your hand, which is actually, that part's actually a good thing with the deck, right? Because you're getting knocked out. So putting the energy back in your hand is good. I think, does the Gallade, does the energy move off with Gallade?
Yeah, moves to the bench, but this is better because, like, you'll already need the attacker set up with Gallade. This is
Right.
decent. Oh, there is Serial Edge as well, though. But I guess 160 is always going to be one-shotting with weakness, pretty much. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't, it's a consideration because,
Actually, no, it doesn't one-shot the Urshifu, which is a pretty big deal.
yeah, it's not a definite, but it's a maybe. And probably having the Gallade
Yeah,
doing 160 is better because you already have the Curliad. So as long as you don't mind losing the Curlia, I think Gallade is better in the deck.
yeah. I don't know. I don't despise this. I didn't put any Zoroark attackers on my list.
That's a
You
mistake.
could, uh, but yeah, I don't know.
We have what, almost 2 months to play these cards. So because then that's rotating Zoroark.
Free rotation, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what's
Okay,
your number 9 card?
let's see. My number 9. I keep closing my list. It is Paldean Students. That's right.
Paldean Students.
I wasn't sure about
Wow.
this card.
This
It's
is
not
not in my top 10.
good, but it's kind of interesting. So it's search a deck for Pokemon that doesn't have a rule box and reveal it, put into your hand. Then for each other Paldean students, in your
Hmm.
discard, you may search your deck for an additional Pokemon that rule box.
Yeah.
Potentially, it's okay. I don't know. I wasn't really sure, but
This did
it's
not
kind
make
of
my
interesting.
top 20, I will say.
Oops. I think it's. I don't think it's a particularly good card. This was really close to not making the list, obviously, but
I mean, at
I think
most,
it has some like kind of theoretical potential.
I mean, you need to get a couple Paldean students in the discard pile, and then you search for 3 Pokemon without a rule box. We have some other supporters that do close to this, though, right? Don't we? I guess it's
Yeah,
not.
and they're okay. Like Arazu's okay.
And is that
The
way?
difference
Is that one just basics? Are the other ones just
no,
like
that's
three
the one's basics,
basics?
the one's evolutions, but
Right.
non-rule box as well.
Yeah. So, but this could be a mix of basics and evolutions. Otherwise, those other cards are better, right? Because
I think Gloria's onto your bench,
okay. Because
so
but if you don't have any many Paldean students in your discard pile, you're searching for like one Pokemon with your supporter. That's not good.
yeah, I
I hate
don't
to
know.
tell
It's
you, but
just
that's
like I
bad.
think there could be some like interesting and unique combo. Um, at face value, it's not a particularly strong card, but I think there's some potential. I don't know. I think it's
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah, look, I mean
Now to think about it, I might put Clive above it, but I think it's fine.
yeah, look, I mean the trainers obviously are versatile, so it gives you a thought of maybe it could go in something.
Hmm.
But it's underwhelming, and I think you probably would agree with that too.
Yeah. So I'll go to my number 8 now, I guess,
Yep.
which is Moonlit Hill. Arguably, this card should be higher up. So what I say is a stadium. Once during
Mm-hmm.
each player's turn, they may discard a basic Psychic Energy from their hand and then
Yep.
heal 30 from each of their Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good in Gardevoir EX.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't have a higher was because I kind of treat it like Charmeleon and Frigivax. It's like an addition, but it doesn't really change the deck of Guardy. And it's good, but is it the best stadium for Gardevoir? It probably is, but
Mm-hmm.
also it's like that's it. I don't really think you'd ever place in a deck that's not Gardevoir. Healing 30 has not been particularly amazing as of late. Um, it's not useless, but I don't think it's that good. We saw Crystal Cave, which is similar still in format, except on Metal and Dragon, which are traditionally tankier types. And
Mm-hmm.
I saw a little bit of play, but then more or less phased itself out. It's not impossible. But I don't think we're going to see some really tanky psychic Pokemon.
It's higher on my list. Do you want me to say where it is, or you want me
Yeah,
to
yeah, sure.
wait?
Tell me where it
So, and
is.
I'll tell you why I think it's a little better than you're giving credit for. It's number 4 on my list.
Okay, okay, that's
Um,
fair.
yeah, you're gonna scream at me for what it's ahead of, but that's okay. Um, so I think, look, I think I'm a big Zatu fan. I think I could play it in
Yes.
Zatu. Be, yes, to I'm a Zatu fan. Not that
No,
you
yeah,
play it.
yeah, yeah.
Not
No.
that you could play it in Zatu. So a deck like Zatu, you play a lot of psychic energies, so that's good for
But you want
healing.
the energies in your hand,
Yeah, but you have access
and your
to
Pokemon are
energies.
generally weak, and
You're right.
like,
Look, the Gardevoir, that's the big one, right? Because you're healing up all the damage from one energy attachment and more, right? You heal almost all of two, even. So that's big.
Well, yeah,
Um,
1.5. It's
yeah,
exactly
one and
one
a
and a
half.
half.
Yes.
Saying almost 2 is, I feel like you're stretching it a little.
Well, yeah. Well,
I mean, it is almost 2, but
you're
that's like
you're
kind of
around
a
point
weird way to
0.5
say
up
it.
to two. I get yes.
True.
So one and a half. So which is good. That is quite good. And if you want to stack up a lot of energies, which you do, then you get to the damage levels you want, right? Especially with the baby Gardevoir, right?
Mhm.
That which is rotating, right? But that's definitely better with this. Um, so I think it's good. I think it's a good card. And yeah,
Yeah, I think it's a decent card.
and Gardevoir EX, people don't attack with it. Maybe people attack with that a little more now too, because it is relatively tanky. It's not getting one shot in a lot of matchups. I think there are definitely times you should attack with it, and this may increase that too.
Yeah, no, I think the card's pretty decent, but
If you
I
go,
don't know. I just don't respect the card a lot. I guess I'll say.
yeah, I mean, if you go from Gardevoir right now is two shotting a lot, getting two shot a lot. If it gets three shot because of this, that's a big plus.
I don't think it's getting 3-shotted because of this.
Okay. So anyway, that was your number. What number 8? You said.
Yeah, that was my 8.
Okay, so I'm going to the EX realm here and going with Espathra EX, and it's still a little tricky for me with this.
I knew you
So
were gonna underrate that card.
all right, so it's higher, and look, it's interesting. It's a stage 1 grass, and talking about your mutant format, grass is very good. And I was thinking of putting this in the deck. I didn't know I couldn't play it, that the new cards weren't legal, but anyway, fortunately that didn't
Yeah, I should have
happen.
said that before. I like kind of forgot. I didn't realize that was coming out this soon. I thought it was like I don't know. I just wasn't thinking about it. But it'll be legal for the next tournament.
Okay.
I should say that. Yeah.
So Espathra EX Stage 1 grass, and it's a terrestrialize or whatever it is, Terra type. It's a psychic attacker, psychic energy. So Cyball 30 plus 30 more for each energy attached to both active Pokemon, and the Dazzling Glaze ability. And Path is rotating soon, so that's a big plus for things like this. As long as Pokemon's in the active spot, you want to attack with it. Attacks used by your opponent's active Pokemon cost one colorless more, so therefore they have to attach extra energy to make the attacks. So obviously that gives you 30 more damage because they have 30 more energy, one more energy attached, or maybe they can't attack at all. So it's an interesting card, and obviously grass is good against a certain deck that is good in the that used played a lot these days.
Yeah. I think I'll talk about that one a little later as well.
All right, so this is going to really be jumping up on the list. So
Yeah.
all right. So, and I go to another EX Pokemon. I've kind of lumped these EXs together because I didn't know what to do with them. And this is the ancient type, or is it a type? I don't know. Whatever it is, ancient Pokemon Great Tusk EX, 250 HP basic, so a very tanky basic, and the tool gives it more. Right, gives it what's it give
Yeah,
60
60
HP.
more.
So 310 on a basic Pokemon is tremendous. I love big basics. Maybe it should be higher. And the attack does 260, and it's not affected by effects on your opponent's active Pokemon, so it hits through Mimikyu and such. And I'm always concerned about hitting through effects, so I love that. 260 is a very nice number, but it's got two big negatives to it. Actually, three big negatives. Three big negatives. One, retreat cost is 4.
Yeah,
Ouch.
I don't think. Well, no. Okay. One thing. Post rotation, there's that like tool that's really good for, or pretty good for 4 cost Pokemon.
What's the tool?
It's like wishful. It like conserves energy, so you can move the energy after it's KO'd. You move the Pokemon the
Okay,
energy off of it.
that's coming out later.
Yeah, in temporal forces.
Okay, all right. So maybe that gets helped by that, but you don't really like fort retreat cost. The attack cost is 4 energy. That's not good, right? So maybe we finally have a use for that. Was it Karadon EX that accelerates energies? I don't
Yeah.
know. But 4 energies, that's not good. And then it's got the ability Quaking Demolition. And I think you kind of want Path to the Peak with this. Once at the end of your turn, after you attack, if this Pokemon's in the active spot, and if you attack with it, that's where it's going to be, I believe. You must discard the top 5 cards of your deck. That is a big ouch.
Yeah. So one thing about that. So one, I kind of forgot. I don't know because paths rotating, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
So I had this. You said 7. That's where
Yes.
you had it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did this at 5. I was considering
Okay.
dropping it to 6.
Okay.
Um, it's I think its attack. I mean, its attack's quite powerful. Its 310 HP is really good.
Yes.
With the tool,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of interesting stuff going on here, but it can be like as you said, a big basic, like a really big basic, um, which is I think could give it a lot of just power. It's expensive, but not unpayable
Well,
by any means. You have
how you paying for it? It's 4. It's
um,
not even 3. It's 4.
yeah, and I was thinking Sada's Vitality plus Mirage Gate, um, but like
Sadas gets 1 energy onto it. 1.
so you Sada's Mirage Gate attach.
Oh, it's good.
I don't
Okay,
know.
so this is going in Lost Zone deck.
This
Okay.
is some Lost Zone ancient deck, so you could put it with Roaring Moon, because Roaring Moon like it hits really hard, but it like
Mm-hmm.
dies, right? It will definitely die. It doesn't always
Yes.
die if you don't, but like and this won't die hopefully. So
Right. It
um,
better not. Look,
yeah, um,
yeah, I mean, tanky Pokemon are really appealing, and I like them. A lot of people like them. So it's just, the ability and the attack cost are rough.
yeah. But then I was also thinking about it. So I like control, right?
Yes.
So I was thinking control one, you can have like walls, and this is a pretty good wall.
Mm-hmm.
310 basic is good. You can penny loop it. Um,
Yes, you can.
and then because I know you love playing against penny loop,
It's a thrill.
um,
Yes.
and then you can also it mills your deck, which normally is a bad thing, but in control you sometimes want to hit the bottom of your deck. Usually you want
Mm-hmm.
to do this by getting the cards in your hand, but eh.
Usually, yeah.
And sometimes you can like get loops by hitting the end of your deck. So I think, or other things, right? So I was originally thinking like what videos, right, to do with the new set.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's like, oh, because United Wings, right? There's that kilowatt fill. I was like, oh, I could
Right.
put this in United Wings. I didn't do that. It seems
Okay. Yep.
questionable, but it seems interesting, right? There could be some use there. You leave it in the active. You actually want to mill yourself. And
Yeah.
then you can like say Rotom V or whatever.
You're not going to get powered up though with the United Wings deck though. That's a big
Well, no,
problem.
this is just like it's just a Pokemon that is like an engine piece, like just for the ability, and then you can penny it up,
Oh,
and then
you're not attacking necessarily. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. That's right.
So
'Cause
I don't know. I think it's interesting. I don't necessarily think it'll be good, but I think it has some potential. And if certain cards come along, it could be good.
yeah, look, it's really interesting. If something comes along that wants to get a ton of stuff in the discard pile, obviously you got to keep this one in mind for that too.
Yeah. V unions, before rotation.
Yeah, that's right. We have only a few. Time is ticking on those. So yes, I don't think for what people are going to miss post rotation, I don't think V unions have gotten a lot of love there.
No, they're cool. They're kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, look, they even the best of them weren't great, right? It's just tough to set up.
Mewtwo was pretty good,
Yes,
but yeah.
it was. So okay, so what is number 7 or whatever 6 for you?
Okay,
7.
I'm actually gonna. Okay, I'll skip my number 7. I'll talk about, or no, I'll do my number 7.
Just
It's Cyclozar. Um,
Cyclizar. Okay.
yeah. So this one I was like thinking a bunch about.
So wait, so
So we're
Great
talking about,
Tusk that was on your list, by the way?
yeah, that was 5.
Okay. Okay, that's right.
Um,
That's right.
although I consider it 6. It's and then but Cyclozar here, number 7, acceleration
Hmm.
drive for grass dark colorless. It does 100. And flip a coin if heads during your opponent's next turn. This prevent all damage from and effective attacks done to this Pokemon.
Yeah. All right.
And so
This
unlike Scrafty, it itself is immune.
Yes. Now this is not on my list at all. I don't
Yeah.
think this is good. So keep selling me on it.
So the reason is Regidrago. That's the main reason. You can copy
Regidrago
this.
V Star.
Yeah, Regidrago V-Star copies Dragon Pokemon.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I thought about that, right? Because you're not building a deck unless it's a Lost Zone deck to get this energy onto the Cyclizar, correct? You're not attacking with this Pokemon per
I
se.
was thinking about Lost Zone as well. I like because you can do because Grass is okay in Lost Zone. It's not actually good. It doesn't necessarily have good Pokemon, but it's a good weakness. And it also Dark is decent in Lost Zone. So you could play this in Roaring Moon plus I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily, but you could.
Okay. Yeah, I mean Regidrago makes more sense with it, but it's still on a coin flip, right? Now
Um, yeah, no, it's not necessarily amazing, but it can. You know that the coin flips can swing games. This is Rapidash, right? This is Rapidash, but maybe viable in standard, like
maybe.
pushing viability in standard.
I mean, look, the nice the fact that it stops effects of attacks as well means Giratina V Star doesn't you can't get doesn't damage you still either. It doesn't knock you out, nor Roaring Moon, all those things that get around the damage blocking. So that that second part and effects of attacks, maybe makes it viable.
Yeah. One thing Kevin Kryptonite here in chat said
Yeah.
as well, that like you could do the Great Tusk EX. I'm assuming they're talking about the EX because there's a new single prize one.
Okay.
But with the Baby Roaring Moon Ancient, there's like an Ancient Toolboxy deck which wants cards in the discard.
Okay.
And yeah, they also cast from doing Mad Parties type stuff. That's your deck,
Yeah.
right? Cast form.
Cast. Yeah. Maybe I have to play cast one for rotates, so
Yeah.
I'll try a Great Tusk one and just got to scoop up that Great Tusk for I give up 2 prizes.
Yeah. But anyway, and then but yeah, so I think Cyclozar could be interesting. Like it's weird. Like it doesn't feel good to use as a coin flip, but in some sense it does as well. I think it's um like you can kind of see in like Regidraco, right? If your opponent has a Comfy in the active or a Curlia, or you
Hmm.
gust up a Curlia,
Yeah.
and then you can attack it with this, and then that's really nice potentially.
Yeah, look, if you're taking a knockout in a Regidrago deck, you obviously need to do the 100 has to be meaningful, right? Or I guess if you can't one shot something, maybe the 100 obviously is enough to finish it off the next turn. I don't, the grass and dark is not a good energy combination for a dragon type, right?
No, I mean I don't know. I don't. It could be worse.
I mean, like if it was the same energy as say Giratina V Star, then you might go, okay, I could drop a copy and lost Tina, possibly, for instance.
Yeah. Uh huh. Yeah, I think so. But anyway, oh, and then also they mentioned there's an Orthworm that hits really hard if you only have
Hmm.
3 cards or fewer in deck. So there are lots of cards that like low deck
Yeah,
size. This could be I don't know, because obviously you're probably not really attacking with it. Um,
right. The
the
Great Tusk. Hmm.
yeah, the Great Tusk, but it's an interesting idea, I think.
Get it out early, set things up, and get it out of play. Hopefully, because you
Yeah,
probably can't afford the 2 prizes usually, right? As I well know from trying to play Fortress EX, those two
yeah,
prizes are a killer. Um,
yeah.
okay, so my number 6 is another EX Pokemon, the last of the EXs on my list, and that's Iron Treads EX, the future
Yep.
Pokemon.
That's also, and I'll say that's also 6 on my list.
All right, so we're in complete agreement there. A metal type future Pokemon. Basic, of course, as are all of the ancient future Pokemon. Ironclad Roll is the attack. It 3 energy, metal colorless, does 150 damage. After doing damage, you may discard all future booster energy capsules from
Yeah,
this Pokemon. Okay,
yeah,
which of course is one, but I don't think there's any way to get more than one on it. I
no,
was
I don't believe so. I was recording a video about it. I didn't post the video. The deck was really bad. Or I don't know. It just like didn't. I think live started glitching.
okay.
Actually, no. I want to say a quick story about live. So I was like playing it,
Yeah.
and so I glitched. So I was playing. I was playing a jump left deck. I'll talk about that later.
Hmm.
Um, spoilers, but so I was doing jump off, and long story, I'd like attacked, but I had a scroll on. So I
Hmm.
attacked with the attack, and then I attacked with the scroll.
Yeah.
But so I did 2 different attacks, but this second attack like didn't go through. So it just didn't do anything, and then they won. But so and then so live was glitching, and then I kept playing, and then it started glitching like more. So and then I played a game,
Hmm.
just everything like was like, off. Like I clicked and it like wasn't clicking right. Like it was, and normally you if you say like comfy, you click on a card and it goes
Hmm.
into your hand, right? But
Yeah.
now it just like zoomed in on the card. Well, like what happens when you click on just on one of your opponent's cards, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then I don't know. And then I don't know. I think I conceded. I don't remember. My opponent, I might have won. It doesn't really matter. But then the star, like stuff was like squished. It was very strange. I was gonna
Okay.
record it. So live, long story short, live's been like worse since the update. I think
Yes,
I've heard a lot of glitches as well.
yeah. I mean, they give an announcement where you're logging in these days about matchmaking issues, which I haven't had, and I don't think you have
I haven't
either.
had that. I haven't even heard of that. Like happening now. Normally you hear it when a new set comes out, but not with
Hmm.
Paldean Fates. But it's good that they're acknowledging them. But
Right, but yeah, I've had problems too, and I don't often have problems with live. So it is this. It once again it caused trouble. I don't know, the new shiny effects, and I believe, which I it just annoys me the way they keep adding these special effects. I got to stop ranting on it in my videos. But when you do the coin toss at the start, you see little stars shooting out and stuff, and I just don't really think they don't need to spend time on that. Honestly, I don't need stars on the opening coin toss anyway. It's not like that big a deal. And then just
I think it's actually like I don't think it fits the theme as well. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but
I just first they need to put resources in something else, making the
yeah,
game work, and that's not the place for a little effect either. They're just at this point they're just looking for places to stick effects.
yeah.
But getting
Anyway,
back
so
to Iron Tread, I didn't finish reading the text, which you
oh
read the
yeah,
card text. If you do during your opponent's next turn, that's if you discard all future energy capsules from this Pokemon.
future
This
booster energy capsules.
Thank you. Yes. So the Pokemon takes 150 less damage from attacks during the next turn, and that's big. 150
It has
less.
220 HP as well, so it's essentially 370.
Right. So you're not getting one shot except by something like Roaring Moon or Giratina V Star that just knocks you out. Or I
Yeah,
mean, you're weak to fire, so I mean, obviously that they might be able to take you out, but otherwise you're not getting one shot. So
yeah.
it has promise, right? One now the downside is 3 energy. That's kind of standard for this type of a Pokemon. Um, 150 that's kind of the downside though. It's really not quite enough damage, right? That's what I'm not liking about it.
And also one thing that I think is important with this card is metal's just not a very good type. It's not very common. I was
Hmm.
looking like, what do I play with it? And I just couldn't really think of anything. There's a new Batang, and there are some ways to power it up, but they're
Yeah.
not great. Like the new Batang, some people are saying it's really good. It's not that good. It's okay. It's not like an awful card. Um, but yeah, and then it's I don't know. I think it's a little awkward. Like the tools are kind of awkward to get. They're not like impossible. None of these things are like major issues, but it's just not. Its payoff is okay, but it's not
Hmm.
like its payoff's good, but it's too awkward to set up in my opinion. Inexperienced. I played it some and it wasn't super great.
Okay. And the tool you're discarding, Future Booster Energy Capsule, is I think the best tool in the game. You do 20 more damage, very nice there. Which I guess you still
The,
do the 20 extra damage
yeah,
if you
you do.
attack, but then it also gives you free retreat. And this retreat cost is what 3 on this guy, I believe.
Yeah.
So you'd like to have that tool around for the next turn if you're not getting knocked out, because you probably want to retreat and attack with someone else if you can.
Maybe.
Although three
And I feel like
energy,
you kind of want to keep sitting there like stalling, but you need to keep getting the tool over and over, like getting another tool, and eventually you'll run out or it'll die. But like,
right? I
uh,
mean, are you really? You think you can get it to be 3 shot? You can get it to be 2 shot pretty decently, but if you get to
because they're not hitting it. Like if they're a lot of, like in normal numbers, like 220, right?
yeah.
That's being reduced to 70.
So
So that's
so
not a lot.
so let's say you're 3 shotting because partly because you're going to miss the tool as well, right? So you're
Yeah.
getting 3 shot, which is good, but you're not going to get that again. In the process, you've knocked out one multi-prize Pokemon and damaged the second one. That's the other problem. You're ahead on that prize trade, but now you can't stream it. Probably that's my thought about it.
Yeah, I know. And that's kind of my thought as well.
Yeah. So you had it at 5, but you
No,
tried it
6. I had that 6.
6. Sorry, both at 6. I do want to try it though. I got to say, it's
Yeah.
all right. You
I
want
think
to
it's
go
fine.
next or?
Well, my number 5 was Great Tusk. So what's your number 5?
My number 5 is one that you might actually have number 1 because you've been singing the praises of it, and I don't think it's all that good, and that's TM Crisis Punch. And I think in your mind I have committed a grave insult by saying it's number 5.
No, I don't know. I think it's really good. So I said I was talking about Jump Off.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about Jump Off with TM Crisis Punch.
Okay.
So I never got it set up, a long story short. But so TM Crisis Punch, super interesting,
Yeah. Why don't you read off what it
super hard to
says?
type because whenever you say TM, it autocorrects to like the trademark
Okay.
superscript. But technical machine Crisis Punch TMs are items, or sorry, they're tools that you attach to a Pokemon that give an attack, but so far is all colorless.
Yeah.
And then you discard it on your
At the
it
end of
gets
your
discarded
turn.
after. Yeah. So you can use it once. In this case, it
Right.
does 280 for 3, but you can only use it if your opponent has one less, exactly one prize card remaining.
Yes.
However, with
Yeah.
Jump Bluff, you can do this twice. So you can
Well,
hit 280 and then 280 again. So you can KO two charged ADXs back to back.
yeah, if they've gotten down to one prize left and you get the energies on and all that,
What, you're
yes.
thinking you're winning before then? No, it's not like that crazy to deal with, but
It's
like,
it's not look it's intriguing. I
yeah.
think it wants to go like on Kramer and Lost Zone,
Yeah, no, I think it wants to go on Kermit and Lost
or it
Zone as
wants
well.
to go in cast form, obviously, is what it wants to go
Yeah,
in.
obviously.
But something where you don't have to pay the attack cost, then you drop this in because you have access to it. You know,
And I have a deck for you. So there's a Pokemon like Castform, Rotom.
yes.
There's a but then expand. Do you know them?
No, I don't know that.
Okay, well there's Castform but for tools. So you could play
Oh,
that with this, and it's actually better because
yes.
they're actually like good. Well, they're not that good, but they cover a bunch of different types. So I think you should try that deck out in live expanded. I believe it is.
Rotom?
Um,
The Rotom
yeah,
that like the Rotom V or
no, there's a bunch
it's
of
an old
Rotoms.
Rotom? Okay, older Rotoms.
There's a
All right.
bunch. There's because there's Heat Rotom and I don't remember what they're. Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no. Then someone said Jumpluff with, and I did think the Skelders
Mm-hmm.
EX. Yeah, you can hit
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you don't need to hit 560 back to back. But you can hit a lot. You can hit like three. You can just like one shot everything
Yeah,
twice.
look, I've been playing some Zoroark, and I can much more consistently take two prizes when my opponent goes down to their last prize than I think I can pull off the TM Crisis Punch.
Well, but this is taking like three or four or five or six.
Well, with
Probably not
Jumpluff,
six.
but honestly, look, Jumpluff is what it is. I've tried it too, and it's fun. It's not great, is my
Yeah,
general
no, but this
statement.
on Cramorant is actually good. Like I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, if
And
you
note
have,
it's like Radiant Charizard, but you can also play Radiant Greninja. But it's not Radiant Charizard. It doesn't take up that Radiant slot.
yeah,
And it's easier. It's free, right?
well,
It's actually
here's the thing. I think it's like slightly better than Radiant Charizard, but
which
Radiant
is good.
Charizard, but I'm not even sure if it's better. I'm trying to be kind to it when I say
But
that
it's
because
not a Radiant Pokemon. It's
no, I
not
get
like
it, but you can get your Radiant Charizard. You can get your Charizard into play very easily on the turn you need it. This is harder to get. You know that. I know everybody plays for Arvin these days, even if they only play like one or two tools. But still, it's you not might not get this Charizard. Boom, you get it down. It does only 30 damage less. Yes, and I guess you can play this with Radiant Charizard as well, right? Because that then it would attack for free, correct?
you can.
So for 30 more damage, I don't know if that's really worth it. Maybe it makes sense, but it's the fact that it's only at their last prize and you need three energy. I just it's a lot of downside to it as well. The upside's big, obviously, but there's a lot of downside.
Yeah, no, I think it's I get the issue like searching it. I don't know. I think it's still
Mhm.
pretty good.
So
I'm not saying it's. I put it number 2 on my list.
number two, okay. I figured you had it higher. So look, it's number five. The top five, I think, are all good, or the top six are.
We'll
You
see.
know,
I
the
think that
top
there's
five.
two good cards from the set.
Two good cards, and this is one
Well,
of
no, I
them.
don't need like two like very good cards. Yeah,
Okay, and I bet none of those are the cards I'm looking at that I have still to name. So
maybe we'll see.
maybe. All right. So did you do your number five card?
Yeah, it was a great task.
Okay, that's right. Great Tusk. So my number four card we already talked about, and that's Moonlit Hill.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, do you have anything more to add? I don't think you do, right?
No, no. Again, I think it's very good in Gardevoir, potentially.
Yeah,
And therefore, there's not many cards from this set that are very good at anything.
yeah, that's fair. I feel like add an addition to an existing deck is, eh. Anyway, so number
Yeah.
4, I have Chimecho.
Charm Echo.
Chimecho, it's Chimecho. I don't know. This card I wasn't sure if I
What
should
what what
include.
what type is it?
It's
Is that?
Psychics.
I'm just trying to find it. It should be on my list here. I'm trying to find it. It did not make my. Oh, okay. All right.
So I'm like control fanatic, control freak. So let's see.
So it's a 70 HP basic psychic Pokemon, and I assume it's just for the first attacks. Two
Yeah,
colorless, sleep inducer, because the second attack is 3 energy to 70, and that's not.
one tries to comfy.
so
No.
so 2 energy, sleep inducer, switch in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot. Do you choose or they choose?
Yeah, you choose.
Okay. Usually, the way it's phrased, I didn't think that's how it usually says it, but
No, usually be your opponent switches, be what it would say.
okay. And then the new active Pokemon is now asleep, but sleep is a coin toss, right? Whether they wake up or not. I
Yeah.
mean,
So, mhm,
so it's the gusting aspect, right? That's what
yeah,
you want,
uh,
gusting,
yeah,
and then they can't attack, and you because they have a great in Iron Transit
or
because they have
retreat.
a great Tusk on the beach with 4 retreat cost, and now they're going to mill themselves out, and then you win the game.
Yeah. Well, so it's obviously similar to Jinx as well, which is like the same, but confusion. I do think a sleep is slightly better than confusion in this scenario and control. It could see the argument either way though. Um,
Well, they can
but
retreat when they're asleep. Oh no, you
confused.
can't retreat. That's right. They can't retreat
Yeah,
when. So
yeah,
yes.
that's
So
why.
this is better. Yes.
So I think it's like I don't know. I just don't think the other cards are very good. I think its control is really solid. Um, the chat's an outrage, but no, I think this card is good. I mean I think it's we've seen cards like this be pretty decent. Not like super good, but I think in control it can be decent.
The fact that
Yeah,
it's a coin flip about waking up, so the sleep may go away as soon as they flip the coin. That's a big downside.
yeah, I know that, but like the confusion can is also like in coin flip, and usually they'll be out of there soon. So I think it's pretty. I think it's not amazing, but I think this is a card that's a very nice addition to control. We don't have
Hmm.
twin energy, so the only way to do this is with double turbo and one attachment. But I think it's still pretty good.
Now
Um,
is Mawile
Now Mala is not
it's
rotating,
not.
so you compare this with that.
Well, I mean,
Snorlax isn't
that's
rotating.
why I'd say Mawile's better, and there's plenty of gusting
Well,
between
they're different.
boss and well, you either boss or you counter catcher, and then Mawile, and now they can't retreat. Now you definitely have them stuck. Whereas this, they may be stuck if that's what
Yeah,
you're trying
no.
to do.
Well, but this is well, if you have boss, you'd use it, but you don't always have
Yeah.
boss. Like sometimes you need a card like this can be. I played a lot of control, and cards
Okay.
like this are decent. They're not necessarily the Jinx deck. This is like a Jinx based deck and is really solid.
Okay.
I don't know if this is quite good enough, but I think it's potentially very solid in control.
Okay. All right. As a control card, I guess. I mean, it wasn't close to making my list. I will say that. So,
Yeah. Okay.
all right. So my number 3 card. That was your number 3, correct?
Yeah.
Or number
No, that was my
4?
4.
All right. So you
Yeah.
got to give your number 3.
Sure. So I have a supporter that's Atticus. I think Atticus is really interesting, notably post rotation. I was considering putting it. I think the top 3 are all very good. I think Atticus is worse than
Okay.
Crisis Shot and my number 1, but I think Atticus is pretty good. You can only use this if your opponent's active is poisoned. Shuffle your hand to your deck, draw 7. How good is Shuffle Draw 7? It's good. It's very good, right?
It
But
is. It is. I mean, Cynthia Shuffle Draw 6 was a good card. So Shuffle Draw 7 is very good.
yeah. So this is like how consistent is it? And you can only use it once you're set up, right? Because you need to poison your points active.
Right.
But there's the Brute Bonnet, the Among Us guy,
Yeah.
that poisons, which as well as there are some other options, but I think Brute Bonnet is the best.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can Radiant Hisuian Sneasler, and then there's a new stadium that'll buff poison.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be doing 50 with poison, and then
Okay.
and then at this point, like play this, right? So
Right.
I think
Right.
poison's gonna be really good.
Okay. I mean, look, I'd like to see Poison being good. It may be annoying to play against, but it's not good that often. So that'll be nice. Yeah, it didn't make my list, but at one point I was definitely kind of considering it. Right. If your shuffle draw 7, very good. The downside is you have to get your opponent poisoned, right? And like you said, you kind of have to be set up before you can get use out of this card. That's the downside, but
Yeah, that's the biggest downside, and that's why I'm like nervous about it. I think poison will be good. I thought Paldean Loop or no, Paldean Cloudslayer was gonna be good in EX and
mhm,
it wasn't, but I think it might have potential. I mean, like 50 poison is good. You need to
right.
commit both your Radiant and your Stadium to it, but it's not like a massive issue. It's pretty good.
Like if you're playing a deck that poisons, you're going to probably include at least 1 or 2 copies of this anyway, just because it's a very strong supporter.
Yeah. Oh, and someone's saying it with cloth as well. Um,
Okay.
it was just one example that could use it. Wait, sorry, what did you say? I didn't hear what you said.
If you're playing a deck that poisons, you're putting a copy or 2 in this, even if you're not using it to set up early. It's just so good. You're going to want access to it.
Yeah, I think late game it's very powerful. And so you said that wasn't on your list.
It's not, but I have respect for it. Right. It's just it's very situational what decks it could go into.
Yeah.
So my 3, and this is very much, well, it's Lantern, which I assume is not on your list.
No, which was that?
This is
Oh,
Lightning, obvious.
this is just like a generic Zoroark attacker.
It's a very good Zoroark attacker, is what you meant to say. It
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Look, Aqua
I'd say it's
Spark.
worse than Raichu.
It's
It's not awful.
No, it's better than Raichu. What's Raichu
Is
doing?
it?
This
I think
does
it does 180, but I think it moves the energy to it. Maybe not.
this does 200. 200. As long as you're behind, and if you're not behind, you can't use these attacks ever in Zoroark. So, 200 is a very nice number, and you can attack with a DTE for 50 or 30, and that's always an issue with the reversal decks too. How to put some pressure on if you're not behind, but 200 is a very nice number to be doing. You're one with weakness. You're taking
Well,
out
no, it's almost a really nice number to be hitting it. You'd rather be doing,
which one?
um,
200. Well,
yeah, you'd rather be doing 220.
I agree, but look, don't worry. I can hit 220 in the deck. Don't worry about that. But this, you need to hit for weakness too. That's obviously a big part of any of these box style decks. And you want to be able to guarantee to one shot anything with weakness at 200, unless it has over 400 HP. You're knocked out. It's very good in Zoroark. It's the
Okay,
best lightning
so but
attacker in Zoroark, I'm pretty sure.
no, so Raichu's in the set. It came out in 151, but it's in the set. Apparently with a lot of arts. So pretty much
Electrical
it does.
grounding.
Yeah, but 180 for lightning colorless, 150 to itself. That's slightly less, and damaging yourself isn't ideal, but it's not
Hmm.
that big of a difference, right? Because
Yeah.
you're hitting like a V star or V max.
Okay.
So, but then you have your ability electrical grounding when it's knocked out, by damage. But when one of your Pokemon is knocked out, you may move a lightning energy from that Pokemon to this Pokemon, so
Hmm.
you can power it up with without needing to like quote commit an attachment. And so
Hmm.
I think it's better. I think it's almost objectively better.
Okay.
I mean, it
Because
does less, but I think it's better.
Okay. I mean that's yeah, I mean I can see that as well. I mean, I can see that argument. But look, Lantern does more damage, so I
That
think
is true.
it's a nice include in the deck. So, what's your number 3?
No, I said it was Atticus.
Oh, Atticus. Oh, that's right. So my number 2, this is definitely an include in that same deck, and it's Donphan.
Don fan.
Yeah, you're like what?
Oh yeah, this one. This one's fine. Is it the
It's
best fighting Zoroark? No. Hisuian Arcanine hits more.
what does it do? This does
Wait,
one
is this for the mill or is this for the 160?
for the 160.
Wait, no, but there's a Hisuian Arcanine that hits more.
You're making me look stuff up here.
I think it hits 180. Is it 180? And no, it's 160 in burn. Okay, so it burns, which is better.
160 in burn. Um,
As opposed to during your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack.
you're right. So okay. Yeah, you're right. All right. So I'm wrong about the Donphan. Donphan
See, I
should
feel like
be.
you don't like. I mean, it's not necessarily bad if you like ignore the other Zoroark attacker. It's not like necessarily bad, but like
Well, no,
I
people have
don't
been
know.
playing Cleavor though. They haven't been playing Hisuian Arcanine. I don't know why now.
Well, Cleaver is. I think it attacks for. Well, it evolves from Scizor, and
Yeah,
also it can attack for two colorless. Um, not as powerfully, but it can. It's different. I could see the you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
All
Oh, and
right.
so it says it needs a fire energy, but the reversal will pay for the fire.
Right. Reversal
Hisuian
is
Arcanine.
right. Right. And you have to have the reversal on Donphan to pay for that because that's the only way you're getting 3 energy on a Donphan anyway. So you have to have the reversal, or you're not using a lot. Most of these Zoroark attacks rely on reversal energy.
Yeah. Gotcha.
All right, I guess you're right. You're on that one.
In a vacuum, that's not necessarily bad. In post, well, post obviously Zorg's rotating, but you could do like a reversal box. But
Yeah, I mean it's going to be tough, but yeah, had to get him
why
into
did
play.
yeah, why do you have 3 Don fans in your top 10? Like what? um, no. So what's your wait? Is that your number 2?
That's my number 2.
Okay, so on my number 2 is it was Crisis Punch. So what's your
Okay,
number 1? I like have no idea what this card is.
this one. All right, I'm pretty sure you're not going to shoot this one down, and this is another Zoroark card.
How
This,
does it work?
yeah. So you want to take a guess?
No, I don't really remember what they are.
It's
It's not
not.
camera up.
Yes, it is.
Can't remember. I don't remember which.
So
This might be like
this is
decent.
this does
Oh, this is pretty
240.
good.
So 240 for 3 fire colorless, and you have to discard a fighting energy
Yeah.
from this Pokemon. So you discard the energy. But the other fire one right now is Mad Cargo that does 220, if I recall, and that energy goes into Lost Zone. So this gets discarded. You still can't recover it generally, but discard's better than the Lost Zone. But in 20 more is always better. So
Yeah, that's
240
fair.
um, is a very nice number to hit.
I don't think it's the best card in the set. Obviously, it's not on my list.
I think it's the best
I
card right now. Right now,
maybe right now. I was kind of thinking in the future as
you
well.
see,
So,
once
um,
Zoroark rotates in 2 months from now, it's not the best card in the set. I
yeah.
100% agree. Then it's
So you
Moonlit
think
Hill
Zoroark's
probably.
gonna be finally? You believe that Zoroark finally will be good?
I think this is obviously the last gasp because, look, Zoroark, and I've given you grief about this. It's kind of this promise. It's a tease. It's a tease card, right? It's super interesting because it turns into anything you want. So it's an ultimate box deck, and obviously I love box decks, and you do too. It becomes
Yeah.
any stage one, and the idea EXs could become part of it too. We can put the Espathra EX in as well, but I don't think we want that probably. Um, but the single prize is really what you want because the deck, you just kind of slowly bleeding, and then you give these big smacks to your opponent over the course of the game, taking multi prizes a few times and win the game. And I think Zoroark it's decent right now. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
It was played at the biggest regional ever to 106th place. So let's go.
It's not that good.
It, well,
Um,
it's like top 5%. This is by a
up-
person that specializes in Zoroark amongst other things. They've gotten top like 100 place in multiple regionals with Zoroark.
okay,
So
but
this
yeah.
is like one of the best Ozark players in the world playing it can get to that level of success. So that's
Yep.
it's not ideal that
Wait, I
level
have a
is.
question. Was it actually? I heard a lot of people say it was the biggest regional ever, but is it actually like a lot of times
I
like
think
especially like YouTubers
so.
like this is the biggest tournament ever, and it's just like not.
They keep saying it. I
So
think so. There were over 2,000 people. I think there might have been over 2,000 masters. It's hard to find out the
okay,
exact
because a
things.
lot of times they're like, yo, there's this the biggest Pokemon tournament ever, and it's just like not.
Right.
Um,
I think this was the biggest. Well, obviously, Japan's bigger, right?
yeah, exactly.
But they don't have regionals.
No, yeah, I don't think they own
So when
regionals.
they say
So
biggest regional, that's okay. And
yeah,
obviously, the North America is bigger than Europe or South America for numbers.
yeah. Mhm.
So I'm pretty sure this is the biggest thus far. But they've been breaking records pretty consistently since things started up after COVID.
Yeah. I mean, a big part of the reason is because okay, yeah, someone says that it was the biggest regional ever.
Okay.
So, and it's probably because of venue space as well. Like they fill up. So, but yeah, no, it's cool
Yeah, they
that
have to
the
have
events are
a
growing.
big space to do it.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is if you're a competitive player, which we're not, because there's so many North Americans playing the points to get in to Worlds for North America are really high, which therefore forces North Americans to play all the more tournaments. It's kind of a vicious cycle, unfortunately.
Clinton, one thing I want to say, some people like YouTube. I don't know about casters, but I know YouTubers very commonly. I think I don't want to call someone out because I might be wrong, but I think I'll call this Hot Chalk or Birch PTCG. He's cool, and he was a caster. But at one time he was like, "This was the biggest tournament ever," and it
Hmm.
wasn't. So, anyway, then a lot. It's common. I've seen it said a lot, but not in terms of regionals. Yeah, I know regionals. There aren't regionals in Japan. Anyway,
Right.
so this
I
doesn't
do
matter.
think today during you live streamed your Mutant tournament today, and you're going head to head with an official Pokemon stream, and I think he was one of the casters because it was over in Europe.
Mm,
So
okay.
so you might have lost a couple views because of that.
Oh no.
So
Anyway,
anyway,
so
so at least this is an okay Pokemon card I picked to number one this time, correct?
I guess yeah.
You don't like
Um,
Zoroark. You'd rather
no.
play Nemona's backpack.
Well, yeah. No, I don't know. I think anyway, so do you know my number one?
So number one card. So it hasn't been said yet.
Yeah, it has. It has.
So what do we have here? Oh, so it's yeah, Spathra EX, right?
Yeah, Smathra EX. is the best card in the set. I was like, this is not a unique answer, and I was like, I want to be something like cool and like, but it's the best card in the set.
How's
Like
it
it's
that
really
good? It doesn't.
solid.
Is
No,
it?
so I played it in Lost Zone, and it was really decent. So one, obviously you mentioned it. It hits
Charizard for
uh
weakness.
yeah, hits Charizard in Roaring Mood Freeze. It'll just one shot
Yeah.
them. Well, it doesn't
Well, no.
necessarily
How
one
many
shot
energies
Charizard,
do they
but
have to have
probably
in
will.
play? Even yeah,
So Roaring Moon, it'll just one shot, assuming they have 3 energy on them.
if they attacked, right?
Yeah.
Even with the
Um,
tool,
I guess two. Oh, I didn't think about that. I think because you need an energy on you. Yeah. So
right? Three.
assuming
So
you have
that's
one on you and
4.
3 on them, yeah, plus one because it's
So
30
so
plus.
150. So it's doing 300, and they're at what, 290? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so that'll just destroy it. But then Charizard, they'll have two. So if you have
1. Then you're just doing what, 240 with weakness, right?
yeah. So wait, if you have, yeah, no, but so obviously you want more. So one,
Yes.
they can actually attack with 2 energy because your ability says that they need 3 to attack. They can gust
Right.
around it, but so
Well,
let's say if
well, it
they have,
might be that they knocked out another Pokemon, and then you send up the Espathra the next
yeah,
turn, right?
definitely, right? So let's say they have two. That's pretty common.
Yes.
Um, and then what else was I say?
But you need 5 energy in play,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, no. So you need five. So you have 3 on you, right? You have 3 on you and 2 on them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was playing this in Lost Zone, which 3 is a very easy, not super easy, but pretty
Mm-hmm.
straightforward amount to get on.
Yeah.
Someone also said, President Clinton said in the chat that it throws off Maridon. Maridon is a deck that kind of struggles with energy, especially
Mm.
like mid to late game.
Yeah.
This is not too good for them. Uh, you look at, I mean, every deck, okay, not every deck, but many decks,
Mm-hmm.
like just get as much energy as they need and no more. Pretty much any deck other than Chimpow and Gardevoir and Chimpow aren't really affected by this,
Mm-hmm.
but they'll have lots of energy. Well, no, Chimpow won't. This is really bad against Chimpow, but Gardevoir, you're just one-shotting. Well, I don't know. It depends. Like,
Right.
if it's a
Depends.
baby Gardevoir, you're gonna do like 300 damage to it. But like,
Right.
it's decent. But then also, I think it's really good um against those dark decks. And I'm a big fan of Lost Zone, and I
Mm-hmm.
think this is really good in Lost Zone because the bad matchups for Lost Zone, well, notably Charizard's really bad. It's really rough. It's really hard to KO like a Charizard EX, right? Because it's a lot of HP.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't just destroy it, but it's quite good against it.
Yeah. Um. I
And
think
it's like gives you type coverage, which is
it.
kind of the same thing, but
Yeah. So what type of deck? So it's going on a Lost Zone deck, you think?
yeah. You could technically go and Gardevoir EX. I was talking with some people. It's weird because the Flittle, the basic, the highest HP one
Mm-hmm.
is 50.
Is
So
it?
you can't really accelerate a lot to it before it evolves, but you could do
Yeah.
Xadu. Some people are running with Xadu. Unsurprisingly, it's not that good. You can use it in control as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that good. I mean, it's not particularly good in control, but it's not unusable in control either. Zoroark control as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it can. I mean, I think I'd rather have Spidops to make the and get them stuck there more than this
I mean,
probably.
that's kind of different, right? This stops.
It's just one more energy though. That's the thing. Or if it like stacked it from within the bench, then maybe I'm just you're not going to stop people that much by one energy.
Yeah.
Um.
Oh, someone in my but there is a Pokemon League HQ that increases basic attack cost by one,
Yep,
a
that's
stadium,
true.
which is okay.
Hmm.
And then someone also said, Clinton in chat said, it combined. Oh,
You okay?
there's a single prize Espathra,
Okay.
that is invincible the turn you play it. So that's pretty good. Rip my voice, I'm choking.
Okay. Okay. So this is Spathra. Yeah, looking at with stance, prevent all damage and effects of attacks done to it till the end of your opponent's next turn. And
Yep.
70 plus 70 more of Tulip in the discard pile. Right? Now, you got to love Tulip in the Zatu deck. So,
Yeah. It cannot get back Espathra EX, unfortunately. But aside from that, it's decent. I think somewhat fan it in the tournament, in my mutant tournaments.
hmm I the Espathra is interesting. And I already have one. I pulled one, so that's nice. I got the alternate art, and the way these effects are, the cards get harder and harder to read, I gotta say.
Yeah, no, I can't like it's hard to read. I had I had issues reading the regular art, not the alt art.
Okay, just because
We have some
the
issues though.
effect is just getting bigger and bigger, more
Yeah, it's pretty
movement and
intense.
more
Like it's kind of hard.
dancing. Yeah, I really think
Not that
that,
it's not pretty. I think it can look cool, but I think you should be able to just turn it off.
yeah, because at
Or
this
I think it
point,
should be toned down ideally.
yeah, I have it turned up on my screen, the one, and it's just this big dance that doesn't ever stop, right? Or it do it once and then pause and then stop. Yeah, you should be able to turn this off, which isn't great, I think. So, um, anyway, and then obviously options like that, they just can't implement that in live yet. But anyway, it's an interesting card, and I definitely want to try it. I'm just not sure what it goes in. I don't think it's going to be its own deck. I don't think it's going to be successful as its own deck. Is what I'm thinking. It's an alternate attacker in a deck is my thought. Gar
Yeah.
so and then how big a piece does it come in games? Probably a lot of games. I'm thinking it gets ignored because you're not taking it. It's that option for hitting for grass weakness in a psychic deck. I'm thinking is what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, Psychic is weak to Dark. Not always, but oftentimes.
Yeah,
You know,
and
this is
dark hit.
popping in the UV Max deck, right? No,
Yeah, and dark can be weak to grass, so I mean I get it. Retreat cost is 1. It's not it's fine. HP is 260, a little low.
I mean, it's
Um,
kind of average. Stage 1 EXs don't see a lot of play, so
yeah, I guess that's true. That's true.
same as Goldango. Well, no, I mean, Goldango's like probably the best Stage 1 EX. It's
Yes,
certainly up
no,
there.
you're correct. And yeah, it's weird because the basic EXs that see play are 200 or usually north of 200, right? And therefore, this
Yeah,
isn't that much more than a good basic EX, but that's because we ignore most of the EXs.
yeah, but it's not that much better than. It's not that much worse than like a Stage 2 EX either. I mean, it's like in between. It's a little lower,
Yeah,
closer to basic, but anyway.
it's only 10 more than
I
Great Tusk
Yeah.
EX,
Anyway,
but
so
yeah,
what we
okay,
learned was that you're gonna play a lot of Zoroark, and I'm gonna
I
play
am.
a lot of Lost Zone, and then we'll play
Yes,
against each other a bunch of times, and we'll see how that goes.
that won't be good. That won't be good. So, at all. So I'll have to play a different deck. I'll have to play my Charizard deck, which my Mutant Charizard deck, because that played both the Jirachi and the Manaphy.
Yeah, yeah. No one ran Jirachi and Manaphy in that, and so someone KO'd 3 Comfies in one turn, and then that person lost. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean that's life. Yeah, especially when it's like obviously a new format and you have 4 players, you just don't know what's going to happen. Do you want to include the text or not? You just got to make your
yeah.
choice and live
I'm
with it.
happy no one. It wasn't like all control. I was kind of nervous of that.
Yeah, that could get ugly. And hopefully none of the decks were too complicated for what to do because obviously net since it's nothing's automated, right? You don't. And if your opponent's deck makes you do weird things, you hopefully don't want mistakes happening too often.
Yeah, I think if mistakes, luckily, I think people are able to resolve them pretty easily. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
and right, everyone goes going in knowing what it is, and they just want to have fun. So stuff gets sorted out.
yeah, which is I think why I want to run it. And I think next week, same time, we'll see. But in the Discord, the PCG Simulator Discord server, I'll be running another event. We'll see, but I might.
Okay. Yeah, it's nice that they let you use their Discord server. I mean, you have
Yeah,
your own. You could do it in that
yeah. I
too.
mean, it's not really problematic if I like use my own either. Um, I think
Yeah.
they want me to use their Discord server because it's obviously promoting me, but it's also promoting them, which I think they
Right.
want.
Promotes
And I
them.
I like the sim. I want the sim to do well.
Yeah.
Now I have I was gonna say a foot in the door. That's not an expression, is it? It's the other way around. Which
What? A foot in the door? Well,
yeah, but that's
that's
not
an
an expression.
expression. I don't know if it fits here, but
No, it's usually a foot out the door, right? That's the
well,
expression. I have a
maybe.
foot in the door. I don't know if I have a foot in the door, but
I
I
don't know.
like it. I want to keep working with it, and I think it's really fun, and it opens up some options, and it's improving. It's improving. Unlike live, which is not improving. So
No, like as we know with this new set, Paldean Fates, which we talked about, doesn't have a lot of cards, and live is definitely worse today than it was a week ago.
anyway, on that happy note, We hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you did, consider subscribing to 10 Types in Uncommon Fossil on YouTube, checking out the Reasonably Effective podcast on podcasting platforms. As always, we're excited to see you in the next episode.
Take care.